commitment to democracy? And does the administration believe that democracy is a buffer or barrier against extremism?
I think what we'd say is that at this meeting, we were able to make significant progress with Saudi and GCC partners in both making a strong statement against extremism and also putting in place certain measures through this GCC mechanism where we can combat extremism. Clearly, one source of extremism, one terrorism threat is coming from Iran. And that's coming from a part of the Iranian apparatus that is not at all responsive to its electorate. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Oh boy, I have seen some pretty ridiculous wordsmithing by State Department spokesmen over the years, but that has to take the cake. That was Acting Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs at Tillerson's Department of State, Stuart Jones. And no, that was not a problem with buffering. That was not a glitch in the video. That is actually him staring completely blankly into space for a good 10 seconds, maybe more, as he tries to think of an appropriate way to lie his way out of this one. And I suppose it's because probably he's a bit green at these types of briefings, but also because, well, reporters aren't supposed to ask questions like that. I mean, when the U.S. State Department criticizes Iran because it doesn't like the way its elections goes, that's perfectly fair game. And when it praises the Saudi dictatorship, that's perfectly fair game. And you never cross one with the other, and you never ask questions about the hypocrisy. Don't these idiot reporters know the game by now? Oh, this pretty much says it all. This video should go in the wall of shame. Even given that everything coming out of the State Department deserves to hang on that wall of shame, this is particularly, I would say, funny, but I guess it's about very, very serious matters, so it's not really that funny. For people who don't really understand the context of this is a briefing given after President Trump's magnificent Make Saudi Arabia Great Again trip to the Middle East, and his, obviously we saw the Saudi arms deal and everything else that eventuated from that. If you need to be caught up just on the basics of that, I did write about that in the International Forecaster last week, what they're not telling you about the Saudi arms deal, where I also did talk about that iconic moment where they stand around the orb in the Global Center to Combat Extremism, or whatever silly acronym they're giving it, and I'm sure we've all seen the original picture. This is the way it's being portrayed by the Qataris, because yes, they launched this wonderful center to stop Islamic terrorism, extremism, and it's got all the extremist supporters there lined up behind it, so as you would expect, it's going to just accomplish more of the same. But interestingly enough, I mean, right away, cracks have started to form in any sort of a facade that all these players are happy to be gathered around the same table. We have the Fars news agency reporting that Saudi Arabia and Qatar have engaged in a war of cartoons and reciprocal insults about this iconic moment. Here's the Qatari editorial version of it. "We have been summoned," which actually is a pretty good encapsulation of it. And they'd also, Qatari mouthpiece Al Jazeera has been taking shots at Sisi and King Salman via their Twitter and other places. And so the Saudis have fired back, talking about the Qataris chopping their own branch off the tree, and or their Qatari state-funded media being basically a scorpion that's stinging itself. So there's an interesting editorial cartoon war of images that's going on right now that is emblematic of the larger row that is taking place between these countries. If you want more, you can go to Rothschild's Reuters for the basic summary about the Gulf Arab row that rattles Trump's anti-Iran axis. Who would have guessed that these players are all actually knives drawn, daggers out, ready to slit each other's throats, rather than to work together to combat extremism. Funded and brought to you by America, Israel, and all their allies in the region, of course, as always. So it's a facade from top to bottom. Probably a better analysis of this is from previous Corbett Report guest Sharmeen Narwani. After Riyadh Summit, Sunni unity crumbles, and this is a good encapsulation of what's going on, including, of course, the now infamous Stuart Jones moment. So there you go. Business as usual in the Middle East, and of course, business being underlined and highlighted with a couple of exclamation points after it, because ultimately, I mean, that's a huge part of what this Saudi arms deal is ultimately about, and it's, of course, not to help you, the average person out there, if you're just an average working stiff American. This, of course, is not meant to help you. This is to put even more filthy lucre in the blood money soaked pockets of the military industrial contractors. So, and when called out on these types of hypocrisies, and we get these moments of aporia, where basically this person wishes he was anywhere else in the world right now, except here answering this question. So, we'll leave that for today, it being what it is. I will put the links into all of this that I've talked about, and we'll just contemplate and laugh at the humiliation of people like this when a reporter, a Geordie, by the way, like my parents, actually has the cojones to actually stand up and ask a real question to one of these mouthpieces of the political establishment. If you're interested in the Paris Climate Accord brouhaha, I am writing about that in the Forecaster this weekend, so please stay tuned for that. And I will have something to say about Bilderberg 2017 that is going on as we speak, but I'm going to hold off a little to save some of my words about it. But you